The Bible says when David returned home to bless his household. So he's blessed the people of God. Now he comes and he wants to bless his household. Michal, again, daughter of Saul, not wife of David, came out to meet him and said how the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, disrobing in the sight of the slave girls of his servants, as any vulgar fellow would. David said to Michal in one of the great disses of the Bible, "It was before the Lord who chose me rather than anyone from your father's house when he appointed me ruler over his people Israel. I will celebrate before the Lord." And then he says this, "I will become even more undignified than this." In other words, you think that was bad? Wait till next week, hon. "And I'll be humiliated in my own eyes." If I don't care what I look like to me when I worship, I don't care what I look like to you when I worship. I'll be humiliated in my own eyes. "But by these slave girls you spoke of, I'll be held in honor." In other words, those uneducated, poor slave girls, even they get it, hon. You don't, but they get it. But then it says this, "And Michal, daughter of Saul," again, it's almost like hammering this home. We know who she is by now, but what? God doesn't stutter. He's teaching us something. "Michal, daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death." Understand the text doesn't say, as is the normal, usual Old Testament custom, God closed her womb. It doesn't say that. It says she had no children. Church, worship is an analog of intimacy. Just as you cannot reproduce flesh, like Jesus said in John 3, flesh gives birth to flesh. You cannot reproduce without physical intimacy. You cannot reproduce spiritually without spiritual intimacy. If we're not walking in intimacy with the Spirit, we will not produce the things of the Spirit. Now here's a very simple way to understand that. The fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of being connected to the vine, is Christ-likeness. Because the Bible tells us that the fruit of the Spirit is what? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Those are the inward things that should be happening in us if we're really walking in step with the Spirit. And that we will also, Jesus said, you will produce much fruit, meaning other disciples. So if we're walking with the Spirit, we're going to see Christ produced in us, and we're going to see Christ produced through us to others.